Some people use the medium of colour and shape to produce imitations of various objects by making visual images. Some through art, some through practice. Others do this by means of the voice. Similarly, in the case of the arts I have mentioned, in all of them, the medium of imitation is rhythm, language, and melody. But these may be employed either separately or in combination. For example, music for pipe or lyre, and any other arts which have a similar effect, for example, music for panpipes, uses melody and rhythm only, while dance uses rhythm by itself and without melody, since dancers too imitate character, emotion, and action by means of rhythm expressed in movement. The art which uses language unaccompanied, either in prose or in verse, either combining verse forms with each other or using a single kind of verse, remains without a name to the present day. We have no general term referring to the mimes of Sophron and Xenocus and Socratic dialogues, nor to any imitation that one might produce using iambic trimeters, elegiac couplets, or any other such verse form. Admittedly, people attach poetry to the name of the verse form, and thus refer to elegiac poets and hexameter poets. For example, they do not call people poets because they produce imitations, but indiscriminately on the basis of their use of verse. In fact, even if someone publishes a medical or scientific text in verse, people are in the habit of applying the same term. But Homer and Empedocles have nothing in common except the form of verse they use, so it would be fair to call the former a poet, but the latter a natural scientist rather than a poet. On the same principle, even if someone should produce an imitation by combining all the verse forms, as Choeremon composed his Centaur, which is a rhapsody combining all the verse forms, he should still be termed a poet. So this is the way distinctions are to be drawn in this area. There are also some arts which use all the media mentioned above, i.e. rhythm, melody, and verse. For example, dithyrambic and nomic poetry, tragedy, and comedy. These differ in that the former use them all simultaneously, the latter in distinct parts. These then are what I mean by differences between the arts in the medium of imitation. 2. Object. Those who imitate agents, and these must be either admirable or inferior. Character almost always corresponds to just these two categories, since everyone is differentiated in character by defect or excellence. Alternatively, they must be better people than we are, or worse, or the same sort. Compare painters. Polygnotus portrayed better people. Powson, worse people. Dionysius, people similar to us. So it is clear that each of the kinds of imitation mentioned above will exhibit these differences, and will be distinguished by the imitation of distinct objects in this way. These dissimilarities are possible in dance and in music for pipe or lyre, and also in connection with language and unaccompanied verse. For example, Homer imitates better people. Cleophon, people similar to us. Hegemon of Thasos, who invented parodies. Or Nicacares, the author of the Deliad, worse people. Similarly in connection with dithyrambs and gnomes. One could imitate as Timotheus and Philoxenus did the Cyclops. The very same difference distinguishes tragedy and comedy from each other. The latter aims to imitate people worse than our contemporaries, the former better. 3. Mode. A third difference between them is the mode in which one may imitate each of these objects. It is possible to imitate the same objects in the same medium, sometimes by narrating, either using a different persona, as in Homer's poetry, or as the same person without variation, or else with all the imitators as agents and engaged in activity. So imitation can be differentiated in these three respects, as we said at the outset: medium, object, and mode. So in one respect, Sophocles would be the same kind of imitator as Homer, since both imitate admirable people, but in another, the same as Aristophanes, since both imitate agents and people doing things.